Hey super friends, Phreak here with an audio commentary for WCReplays.com, copyrighted 2007 by WCReplays.com. This is hosted on WCReplays.com, and if you downloaded it, then you went to WCReplays.com. As I said, this is Phreak, and I'm staff at WCReplays.com. That was a nice voice crack, I'm 20, and okay. So, today you are listening, I am doing an audio. Actually, you're listening it on another day, but since you're hearing this, me saying today, I guess it's today for you, which means I recorded this like 2 weeks ago or something. So today, you're listening to an audio commentary on Night Elf vs. Human. For what it's worth, my next audio is going to be on Talons, because I got a request. I know a while ago I had a request like, hey, what audio do you want to do? And like some people were like, do undead. I'm like, I'm terrible at undead. And you're like, well, do human. I'm like, okay, Elf vs. Human. So this is from IEST, the Lenovo International Esports Tournament 2007. I know acronyms, what up? And this is Moon versus, I believe, Sky. Yeah, I'm going to find it on Terenas Stand. I'm going through my little pack of replays. Yes, Terenas Stand. Yeah, sure, TS. Unless I want to do Meadows. No, he lost Meadows. Okay, TS it is. Wait, did he lose Total Rock? I don't know, doesn't matter. We're going to TS. That's the deal. So, Terenas Stand is one of the three things that I think is, and this one less so it's going to be a little bit overdramatic for this map in particular, it's one of the three maps or situations where it's 90% impossible to beat human. Number one, Lost Temple. I mean, if you get luck spawn, okay, it's not so bad, you can probably win. Otherwise, Lost Temple. Secondly, Close Spawn Turtle Rock. And then thirdly is Terenas Stand to a lesser extent. But those are the maps or situations where it's 90% chance that there is no way in hell you're winning the game. Because basically, I mean, and we're going to go to 30 seconds, 1x speed. So everyone get 30 second 1x speed. I'm going to do a little bit of talking, then we're going to unpause. If you're not there at the time, pause the audio and get yourself there. So it's one of the three maps. And basically what you're looking at is it's just, hard to beat mass tanks or a tower rush. I mean, you look at Lost Temple. I mean, I know I sort of mentioned Lost Temple, a second ago. It's, there's mass towers. You have very little map control because you have no good solution to tanks or mass gyros. I mean, they can switch between the two if you kill them. You don't have Breath of Fire, so you have no good way of dropping down tanks. You can mass up AOWs, okay, that's fine. But the longer that goes on, I mean, he's going to kill an Ancient War for a tank, basically. And so you go almost equal on gold. Actually, AOWs cost more than tanks, by the way. Except that he gets experience for killing your buildings with tanks, and you don't get experience for killing tanks with Ancients of War. Which means he's slowly creeping and getting gold off of this, base trade while you're trying to keep map control, and essentially try to keep it to equal numbers of expansions. And yet, you've got to build extra Ancients of War to cover each of your expansions, where he can just send his army of tanks to whichever is least defended, and then switch up to gyros, and you've got to do it with APs at the same time. And again, you've got no Panda to staff back to just instantly kill them, and so you're stuck with a Demon Hunter with an orb, or a Keeper or something, to try to keep your bases alive, and you've got to stack up base defense at each one, which gives you very little gold. And as I said earlier, a tank for an AOW is an equal trade, and granted you can do better than that if you micro it right and you have wisp repairing and stuff. But I mean, even still, you've put this giant down payment, and I guess to be fair, he's putting that down payment on all his towers as well, so that sort of works out. But the point to it is that it's possible for him to kill a mass Ancient of War expansion by just switching up his units. It's not possible for you to kill a mass tower expansion, which means you've got to keep map control the entire time, or he's got another expansion that's never going to die. And if you ever slip up, he's going to divert your attention over somewhere with mass tanks, and if you send your army back to defend it, which you often may have to do, he's got a new expansion up with mass towers. And it repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. And all it takes is one lucky bolt surround, and oh, sorry, you were trying to kill his expansion? Oh wait, no, the towers are up now because you had to TP out because I got a bolt surround. I mean, it's amazing what human can do with just 3 heroes, and that is why Lost Temple is almost imposterous. Yes, imposterous. Turtle Rock being, close spawn tower rush, kill the second moon well, and you pretty much win. Terenas Stand is less so evil. I mean, it's another map where human will probably get their expansion up with very little problems. But I think I talked to you enough, and you will be able to unpause in time. So 30 seconds, 1x speed, Moon's POV. 3, 2, 1, unpause. 31, 32. No, I'm not going to do that counting up to 60 thing like before. 35 seconds, 36. Okay, so let's hope you're all synced up. So the deal right now is, well, Moon's gonna do something pretty exciting. If you've seen the replays, then you know. If you haven't, well, you're in for a bit of a treat. Basically, what's gonna happen is one of my theories. So I'm gonna explain this one out, and it's gonna probably take a minute. So by the time he's got the Warden out, you'll all know. I said earlier that it's 90% impossible to win Lost Temple or a close spawn Turtle Rock or something, and that is the case. It is 90% impossible. The 10% is that you have to severely outplay your opponent. Now, granted, if a game were balanced, you would have to outplay to win. If you don't outplay, you'll lose or you'll tie. Okay, fine. But on Lost Temple, you can outplay and still lose, or close spawn Turtle Rock or Terenas Stand, or whatever it is. And similarly, a human can outplay you on Meadows and still lose because it's imbalanced. Whatever. The point is, you need to severely outplay your opponent on these really difficult maps. And the way you outplay your opponent is by making less mistakes than him, or making more good moves than him, basically playing better, by either directly by just playing really amazing, or sort of indirectly, though on a related point, by playing really good and your opponent playing worse. Now, why I say this is because your opponent can play worse by sorry, I'm trying to get this train of thought to work. You can make your opponent play worse by playing something unorthodox, where your opponent doesn't quite know what's going on, and they play a little bit confused, they make some mistakes, because, these are professionals, and they're professionals because they practice. They practice against the typical strats, usually. They practice against, really good players. They practice against things that they're, generally supposed to practice against. And if you throw something random at them, they're less practiced against it. So they still have amazing micro, they still have amazing timing about when you'll get tier 2, how many towers to make, but they'll make some mistakes on the smaller points, which is why if you perfect an unorthodox strategy, you will do very well. Compare how well someone adapts to how well they can, react verbatim against a strategy that they know. And they know exactly how that strategy works out. I'm not explaining it quite perfectly, but I think you know what I'm getting at. And so by playing a little bit unorthodox, you can sort of force mistakes because they're not going to play perfectly because they've never played against it before, or something exactly like it before. And so what's going on is Shadow Strike Harass. He's going specifically for the workers. And he's getting some experience from this low water elemental, which this guy was stupid to not just denied earlier, but whatever. So you see he picks off one peasant, and okay, that's a little bit of experience and less, less production. There we go. Fan of Knives, very unorthodox build for a Warden to actually go FOK. He's going to try to pick off this peasant. There we go, and now that means, I believe, 3 for him. And then it's time for hide, and really, if he were smart... Actually, no. He doesn't have reveal because he didn't creep that lab out, and so he has no good way of getting rid of this Warden. And he's going to pick off one more. That will that a Shadow Strike ticks, which will probably be denied. Let's see. 14 dead. Yeah. Okay, that got denied. So, yes, this Peasant Harass is very, very effective. And so he's gotten himself a bit of experience, denied his opponent quite a bit of gold, and certainly a bit of lumber as well, as he's got to bring more and more peasants off wood. He's finally getting a lumber mill now. Let me check how much lumber he has. 80. Okay, yeah. So, definitely, this right here did not win him the game, but it gave him a lot of time. This isn't really one of those, oh, he's playing really weird, he doesn't know what's going on kind of things. That's coming a little bit later. A little bit of a mistake by Moon not dropping the circlet and intel before he used the well, but it's going to be okay. So now he's going to go for level 3. Now this camp won't get him 3, but he's going to work towards it, which is a good idea, because level 2 Fan is really going to help him out. I'm really not used to saying Fan of Knives. I keep wanting to say Forked Lightning, because, everyone gets a Naga, no one gets a Warden with that spell. So, running around, Warden gonna pick up, I would assume. Actually, no, he doesn't.